Well, hello. A couple of weeks ago, I went to Montreal to visit my daughter. I didn't do a lot of touristy things while I was there, but I did make myself one rather interesting souvenir. I was there over the time that I would normally have buried a book page at home here in Vancouver, but I decided that I would bury a cloth book in Montreal while I was there. I assembled the book before I left, and then I did some stitching during my flight there and during the layovers. And then I finished it up on my first day before I head out with my daughter for a little walk in her neighborhood.
Did your mom want some art supplies before she leaves?
We went down to the local beach called Verdun Beach, and as you can see, there's nobody there with us because it was a rather cold and rainy day that day. I gave my little book a dip in the St. Lawrence River, and then I gathered up all kinds of plant material and little bits of rusty things that I could tuck in between the pages of my book. Just, I put them in rather randomly here and there. I really like the way that this little purple flower looks with the bit of cloth here this little bit of cloth that I had stolen from my daughter's project bag as a little memento of my visit to her place. And after I had filled up the pages with the material that I had gathered, I rolled everything around a stick and then wrapped the rusty wire around the whole bundle. And on a cold and rainy day, I buried the whole thing in the garden outside my daughter's apartment. And then 2 weeks later, on a hot, dry, sunny day, I pulled the bundle out of the garden. I have to admit, I was a little bit disappointed with the results. The rust had certainly made some nice marks, but the plant material really hadn't changed the pages very much. The cold, rainy weather that they had been having in Montreal stopped the day after I buried the book. So, and the weather had turned really hot and dry, and I guess the ground dried out, so it didn't make much change. Unlike this other piece of cloth that I dyed during the maritime part of my trip. I didn't want to stop there, so I took another walk around the neighborhood. I gathered up petals and little bits of plants that I found lying on the ground. I took them back with me to my daughter's place where I used them to create some really beautiful colors in my book. I used a process called hapazomi or flower hammering, flower pounding, and as it sounds, all you have to do is you place the flower petals work really well between the pages of your book and just hammer them in. And it really is that simple to transfer the color from the petals to the cloth. Now, this is what my book looks like right now, and there are some holes in it. And the holes were the result of hammering directly on the concrete, putting the book directly on the concrete. And I don't mind them, I quite enjoy them, and I will be spending some time adding more stitching and mending and embroidering this book, and to remind me of the time that I spent in Montreal with my daughter. In the video where I showed you how I did the process, you'll notice that I had some wood and cardboard underneath my book, so it didn't quite get as damaged as it might have been. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you again soon.